Isn't too confusing.
진짜 confusing. 뭐야, 뭐가
What did you guys think?
Good.
What did you like?
The
Oh.
Bumblebee game.
What did you remember the best moment?
The cow.
The cow. What did you like about the cow?
It was cute.
Okay, yeah. Hey everyone, continuing my reviews of watching Transformers Earthspark with my kids, episodes 2, 3 and 4. If you want to see my review for episode 1, there's a link down below. If you're into diecast cars, Transformers and play figures, do like and subscribe to my channel. One day I would love to get 10,000 subscribers, as that's the minimum requirement to be allowed into official toy fairs as a social media influencer. I'd love to go there in the future and preview more toys and what's coming out. So, on to the Earthspark reviews. So I've seen that on Paramount channel episode 1 and 2 are together, which is way better than splitting them up. On the Nickelodeon UK channel, only the first episode was released, so it makes a lot more sense watching the second episode in that they're two parts together. So anyway, now that we've finally seen 2, 3 and 4, my kids, although they didn't really laugh much or feel the wow factor during the first episode, they're starting to get into it more, and there were things that they definitely picked out that they liked. In particular, as they mentioned, for my daughter, the cute cow or floppy ears, and for my son, the Bumblebee as the hypercar just racing through all of those action scenes. Really like that. It's probably not a surprise that he also really liked collecting Hot Wheels and other cars when he was younger. So, second episode, I'll just do a recap, and as I go through, I'll just give my opinion on what I thought, how my kids reacted, and maybe what's happening next. So the second episode begins with Megatron greeting Dot, and this voice of Megatron is way less menacing than other incarnations, and you know, for me, I'm still getting used to the fact that this character is more cooperative and friendlier. I'm used to like a growling, scheming Megatron, but I'm quite open to see where this goes. And Optimus, sends off drones from his trailer to look for the Arachnomechs or the Spider-Bots, and Robbie and Morgan, they hang out with their respective bots, getting to know each other and their abilities as well, and it kind of shows how their cyber sleeves link their emotions, and how the robots have an effect, the Terrans have an effect on the kids and vice versa. And then they try to find an alt mode to turn into, so Twitch scans and transforms into one of Optimus's drones, which is nearby, and then shoots it down because they think it's a threat. They don't know where it's come from, and the remainder of the drones return to Optimus, and then go back into his trailer. So Elita One at this point name drops Wheeljack, so I'm really looking forward to Wheeljack turning up, one of my favourite bots, and telling that it malfunctioned, but they don't realise it was shot down as well, or by who. And it's cool because in that G1 Wheeljack often had malfunctioning gadgets. It's a nice continuation of that character. Dot's not happy with Optimus revealing that her move as a park ranger to Witwicky to get away from Transformers and the Alliance was actually set up to be part of Ghost. So yeah, she's not particularly happy about that. She wanted a peaceful life. I mean, commentators at this point who I've seen, or people who have the opinion that they don't like Optimus's face, I don't think they'll still like it. It is what it is. It doesn't bother me much. I think it's just a cartoon style. It just, all the bots come up in that kind of way too. So yeah, I think after a while you just get used to it. Yeah, for me it's not been a big issue. So I think it's quite funny how Dot is more friendly with Megatron than Optimus, but I think that's because Optimus had sub-intentions of getting her to Witwicky. So later on we see more of Mandroid. He's operating on hardtop while he's still conscious, which again, as I said before, it's a little bit disturbing. He's still alive and then his arms just being severed and stuff. So the animation style changes with characters. Evil characters like Mandroid, they're always shown in like dark colour schemes, or scarlet red, to make it really clear. Morgan and Thrash, they go looking for vehicles to transform into, but end up battling Arachnomechs, and they get surrounded until they get bailed out by Optimus, Megatron, and Elita 1. And then at the end, Optimus offers the new bots refuge at Ghost, which is the new kind of military alliance. But it turns out Mandroid was driving the armoured pickup truck that was supposed to bring them to the Ghost base, and then tricks them into being analysed when they get back to his secret lab hideout. The kids, they feel uncertain emotions, the robots through their cyber sleeves and chase after them. And there's a pretty cool scene where Megatron, Optimus and Dot burst in to save everyone. And my kids, they really loved it when Megatron used his fusion cannon. It was really powerful, and we get to see him in action. And the Mr. Mandroid joke was pretty funny too. So yeah, I mean, there's been quite a lot of plot and setup, and at this point, a good laugh and an action scene was well due. So yeah, more of that please from the future episodes. As an older fan, seeing Optimus and Megatron together, they're like an unstoppable team. I really look forward to seeing them work together more and how they get on. But yeah, I'm also getting used to that as well. It's quite strange, but yeah, see how it goes. And then Optimus Prime, we get to see him using his Ion Blaster and Energon Axe as well, which are really cool. Elita 1's fight scenes weren't so flashy. I think she's more a functional fighter. And I think as the series progresses, we'll see her using like more cool weapons perhaps. This iteration of Elita 1 is not like the Elita 1 from the G1 series where she was Optimus Prime's girlfriend, or like the Transformers animated version either, where she became like Black Arachnia. So a different one, completely more like a military soldier type personality. We also get to see Skull Cruncher, whose crocodile alt mode is pretty intimidating, as a very speedy crocodile that just bites into things. That was really cool to see. And then afterward, we see Twitch finding an alt mode as a motorcycle with a sidecar, and helping them defeat Mandroid's controlled Decepticons. And we also finally see Bumblebee, who has been revealed to have been in hiding until summoned by Optimus to look after and train the new bots or Terrans. So, the kids after this episode finally feel settled in, and they're pretty happy with their new Terran friends. And, episode 3 starts off Bumblebee. The new vehicle mode is this really cool hypercar with very boxy air intakes, low stance racing vehicle. Really cool to see. The kind of drifting actions of it are done really well. Very cool to watch. And then, his mission is to train the new Terrans. But, they're really not interested. And there's a new character here that deserves to be mentioned, and that's Floppy Ears the calf. My daughter loved how cute it was. It was a really cool character, and, who knows, maybe it could be included as a minifigure with the other Transformers, because it was really, really cute, and it features in most of the third episode. So, as the parents, they know Bumblebee from like this great war that's been referenced, and they get what he's all about, but the kids really don't. And Bumblebee struggles to really kind of have a kind of bond with them at first. It's like any teacher with teaching new kids, and asks Megatron and Elita 1 for help, but at the end it's the parents who really get to him. So first, Bumblebee asking for help from Megatron, it's just really surprising to see that. After the other cartoons I've seen where they're all enemies, and even in the computer games, Bumblebee got killed by Megatron and so on. And there's a really strong message here that peace can be achieved even between arch enemies, and the past can be buried. And it's quite a cool message for kids, and it does remind me of the end of Transformers Prime, where Megatron doesn't want to continue leading the Decepticons after being tortured by Unicron and being a slave. There's a lot of character progression there, which is really cool to see. So yeah, obviously, with kids who just want to go and do their own thing and be independent and do things their own way and think that they know it all, I think all of us parents can relate to that. So I kind of relate to Bumblebee here as well. But Bumblebee, he reluctantly agrees to be interested in what the kids want to do, which is mostly because it's getting away from his training, which he thinks is important, but the kids think their family game night is really important. So, he has to do what the kids think is important to get to know them. And it makes it easier for them to get to know him as well once they do have a bit of play. So yeah, the teacher also has to learn some lessons too. And then, while they're playing, there's like an escaping herd of cows from a damaged fence. that Twitch smashed accidentally while transforming, and then the cows are racing towards this kind of ghost train to what could be a really horrible ending, but Bumblebee helps the kids and the Terrans to round up the herd and get them back, and then only Floppy Ears is left, and Hoof is stuck in the tracks. It's a bit dramatic, and then there's a last minute rescue by both Bumblebee and Twitch, who learns to transform on command. And at that point the Terrans do realise they do need training, especially when they don't know how to do very basic things such as transform at will. And they accept Bumblebee. And episode 4, they start off with some training exercise, which shows this is it. They got into Bumblebee's advice and training program, and they're trying to increase their abilities and skills and stuff. And then as they accidentally break the house and get grounded by the parents, regardless, Morgan and Thrash break the rules, and they just sneak off into town. And then Swindle sees an opportunity to convert them to the Decepticon team, because they're quite new. The Terrans don't have any insignia yet. But then while he's trying to do that, he leads them to damage other people's property and fields. But he plays the sympathy card by saying he's looking for his friend Hardtop, which is true in one way. Like, he's been Mandroid's doing something to him, but he's also trying to steal something as well. And it eventually leads him to the Maltese family house, where Bumblebee steps in to drive him away. But Morgan and Thrash, they still think they're still sympathetic to him, and they still think he's got some good in him, and he's not as bad as the Decepticons made out to be. And they run away, and they meet him. But when they see him, Swindle reveals his true colours and forces them to try and steal something. And then when Morgan and Thrash refuse, he gets his blaster out, and then at that point gets saved by the mum, Dot, who drives a park ranger truck onto him, and then they go home after that. So in all this episode, Robbie and Twitch have just been training and also doing all kinds of house chores to get gold stars, which I think is really good. I mean, it's nice when the kids do that and they just get on with their stuff and they help around. So you can see the characters of the kids, like the younger ones, they're more likely to be led astray. And Robbie, who's a bit older, he just gets on with stuff, which is cool. So you can kind of see the personalities coming through. And at the end, there's a nice happy ending where the dad, Alex, he reveals that the bit that they broke, he made it a convertible section of the house where it can open out into a kind of bar or a kitchen area, and then the Terrans can join them, as they're not allowed in the house, but they're still compromised like that. So it's like this big teamwork family thing where everyone just listens to each other's needs and they just help each other. It's got a nice feel to it. So overall, when we watched the first episode, it was really hard to set up and just watch through all of this plot building as well. But when it comes to a new series, I always try to watch at least 3 episodes just to get into it, and then after that I'll stop if it's really bad. But for this one, it's growing really well and very nicely. And now that the kids and the Terrans have embraced training and teamwork and familiar with Bumblebee, I look forward to seeing them showing off the new skills or weapons and stuff as they discover more about themselves. So overall, really, really good. Looking forward to watching the next few episodes. So these reviews take a bit of time to create and put together. So I think I'll do a review of episodes 5, 6 and 7, like in threes next, and then I'll try and do one on 8, 9 and 10. So there's 26 episodes in total that I've read about, but they've been split kind of like a mid-season break. So there'll definitely be more to review in the future. If you enjoyed this, drop a comment down below. Let me know if you've seen it, or if you and your kids have seen this as well. Let me know what they thought. And like, subscribe, and hopefully see you in a future review.